Chair. So 2 issues to summarize today's debate. 1, on the issue of ethics and application. What we heard from the negative team is that we need science to be regulated and controlled by ethics, because unless we do so, it can lead to potential abuses and harms. And the example that we heard was human clones and atomic bombs. Now, what we have been telling you is that the harm that they are talking about is not a harm of discovery itself. It is a harm of application of that discovery. So scientists, ladies and gentlemen, did not drop the atomic bomb. It was a politician who dropped the atomic bomb in Hiroshima. The potential harm of cloning that they were continuously talking about can be alleviated and controlled through things such as legal protection and guaranteeing human rights of those clones, right? And the only response we heard from Hayaka-san was that technological advancement is too fast, that people are too stupid and can't properly adjudicate. He contradicted their entire stance, because when they were refuting back to our claim, what we were talking about, he said that people can adjudicate ethical calculation of like scientific cost and benefit and potential ethical harm. So they were fundamentally schizophrenic on whether society is capable of adjudicating technological advancement versus ethical issue. What we have been telling you continuously, consistently from the affirmative case is that people cannot make proper adjudication unless they see unless they can visually see the actual outcome of the experiment that we are talking about, ladies and gentlemen. And that was where they were fundamentally misunderstanding our argumentation. And notice, ladies and gentlemen, that the negative team did not defend ethics for philosophical reasons. They defended ethics based on practical outcomes and practical harms. So let's make a practical comparison. What we have been telling you, the practical benefit that arise in our paradigm are things such as cure for cancer, cleaner water in third world country, cheaper vaccination. The potential harm that they were talking about are things such as human clones and harmful AI. Now, number 1, the harm that they were talking about is merely a potential harm, but moreover a harm that could be regulated as we have mentioned you. But the benefit that we have been talking about, according to the motion, assumes that there's a high possibility that the benefit arise. So when you make a comparison in terms of the potential possibility of whether that harm or outcome will arise, we think that there's a higher possibility that our benefit will actually materialize, and when we make the comparison, we think that our point is more important. Moving to the second issue, which is about the social discourse on ethics. Now, what they have been they have basically given us a counter model in saying that before a scientist would conduct this experiment, they would like preemptively submit and allow a discourse to happen. Now, what we told you is that unless you actually conduct that experiment, people cannot actually understand the gravity of the issue on the ethical, moral level. Yes, you can read the very difficult scientific paper submitted by scientists talking about how he's going to conduct the animal experiment, but people cannot make a proper moral, ethical conclusion unless they see the actual faces of all of those people suffering from cancer who was saved and cured as a consequence of their experiments, and compared against like seeing and actually watching all those animal and agony and suffering as a consequence of their animal experience. So we know in order to have that kind of proper ethical and moral discussion, that experience must be conducted. So the scientist is not making any moral ethical decision when he's conducting that experience, as Enomoto has been talking about, and that is where the negative is misrepresenting. We're not saying that people are stupid and they're conservative and outdated and they will hold on to their previous ethics, ladies and gentlemen. In order for people to properly understand and properly update their ethical idea, we need the actual consequence of the experiment to actually visualize and actually arise, ladies and gentlemen. And that is what we have been constantly telling you, and that is why the affirmative wins.